Sherrone Moore has been arrested. This comes just a few hours after Michigan fired Chiron Moore for what it is calling a personnel matter. And there's every indication that it's getting worse rather than getting better. What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. If this is your first time watching Adapt and Respond, thank you for joining us here. We talk college football year round. If you're into that, hit that subscribe button, like this video, and answer the question in the comments below. Did you expect Chiron Moore to be arrested on the same day that he was fired as the head coach at Michigan? For those of y'all that are new to the channel, I've already done a segment addressing Chiron Moore being fired and who I think Michigan should be looking for the job the next go round to be the next head coach at Michigan. But it's getting clearer that anybody associated with the Jim Harbaugh regime probably needs to go, from Connor Stallions to Chiron Moore. I think that Jesse Minter's still a guy that you got to be looking at, because I think Jesse Minter's a great football coach and he understands the culture of what Michigan wants, and his defense was great. 2023, they win the national championship. But this news with Chiron Moore is, to put it mildly, alarming. This news comes from Pete Hamill and Dan Wetzel, and it's quoted as: the city of Saline Police Department assisted in locating and detaining former University of Michigan football coach Chiron Moore. Mr. Moore was turned over to the Pittsfield Township Police Department for investigation into potential charges, which begs the question, potential charges for what? Rather than speculate on what those might be, I'm sure that you in the comments are going to do that. I'm going to say that that's just that. It is worrying as hell. It just does not feel good on your skin if you're a Michigan alumnus. And normally I am absolutely ready to dunk on Michigan fans, which I differentiate from Michigan alumni, even if they happen to be one and the same. I wouldn't want this to happen to my football staff or anything like it. Between Chiron Moore and Matt Weiss, you've already got two coaches that have been investigated by authorities. That's both coordinators. That's two guys that were on the same staff at the same time, coaching the same offense. That's bad. That's all the way bad. And, you know, as much as it sucks to say, Jesse Minter is at the top of the list for the first guys that you would think from a football standpoint who should be looking at this job and who you should be looking at. But are you willing to risk that if you're Ward Manuel and Michigan? Because this has just been bad. I mean, yes, the Connor Stallions thing, I'm not going to let it go. Most other people aren't going to let it go. You cheated. You got caught. But it pales in comparison to your coaches being arrested. Like, when we talk about getting fired for cause, like what LSU tried to pull with Brian Kelly, this is that thing. This is the kind of thing that gets you fired for cause. This is conduct detrimental to the university and the football program. Not to mention, some of y'all are still catching up, but Bo Schembechler was involved in some really, really awful and nefarious stuff. These are things you got to separate, dog. These are things that just can't go well. These are things that you really do have to manage and get under control. Like, we get that he's been terminated, and we understand that you're trying to do something different. You're trying to put together the pieces by going, Biff Pogge's going to be our interim, trying to figure out the bowl game, try to keep your roster from just entering the portal, because they get to do that for the next 30 days. So will you be able to do this? But the conduct that he was terminated for, quote Michigan here, constitutes a clear violation of the university's policy, and a maintains zero tolerance for such behavior. Remember, Moore is just 39 years old and the first black head coach at the University of Michigan. It feels like now all of us are going to be trying to find out what it is that these two police departments, Saline and Pittsfield Township, know, and when they plan to share it. Now, what is cool about this country is we have open records law, and we have things that we are entitled to as citizens to know. At the University of Michigan, you get to say, hey, this is a personnel matter, or we get to say this is FERPA, not get to FERPA's law. You respect it. I respect it. But when it comes to the police getting involved, then you have police reports. If charges are filed, we will all know about it, and we will know the extent to which you have been charged, and we will get someone's affidavit about what it is that allegedly happened. And it's not the kind of thing that will just go away. It will stay for a very long time. And it felt like just as Michigan was coming out of the fog of Stallions and Weiss, as it felt like Sherrone Moore was finally getting his opportunity to lead the football team past the recruiting violations and the sanctions and the $30 million that the NCAA has fined Michigan for its role in the sign stealing. Plus, you weren't able to make the college football playoff for the second time in a row, and you lost to lost to Ohio State this year. This is all bad. This is all bad. There's no good here. What I think this begs the question for the rest of us is, what else don't we know? Honestly, what else don't we know? Because if you're paying attention to how this news was reported, it really came out right when he was fired. But there are those that I've spoken to who have said, hey, this has been ongoing investigation for some time. And some people expected this to happen. The timing of it is unfortunate, though, because all the guys that you might want to go get for this job, I think have jobs. So you'd have to pry them loose. Like Matt Campbell, right? For instance, who's the new head coach at Penn State. You could keep going down the list for a group of 6 guys that you want to promote up, or a hotshot offense coordinator like Will Stein, or even maybe you want Josh Lapoy. I put together a list at foxsports.com where you can read about just what it is that I think, or just who I think should be up for the job. And it was really difficult because A, you have to hire, look at people that are qualified for the job, and also B, those that would really enjoy the opportunity, and C, who foots the bill. So Brian Kelly foots the bill, for instance, right? There are other coordinators that I think are also really great and deserve an opportunity. But that's also a thing you got to be paying attention to if you are a guy that's up for this job. You're going to follow this. You have to follow this. It's not fair. And it feels like, once again, you're going to be starting from behind the 8 ball at a program that is one of the top 5 jobs in America and won the national championship just a couple of years ago and expect it to be good. I think you're going to get all the support that you could ever need from a place like Michigan. But these own goals, dog, like these own goals, these procedural penalties that are costing you, where you are fumbling this coach and you're fumbling that coach and that coach is making these mistakes. These are things that you need to be able to suss out in the hiring process. And I get that a lot of this really does stem from Jim Harbaugh. It really does. These are all his guys. These are guys he hired. These are guys he brought on. These are guys that he fought for. He wanted Sherrone Moore to succeed him at Michigan. That means whatever Sherrone did or doesn't do is on him. If he was great and won, everybody looks at Jim Harbaugh and says, what a great job he did in setting Michigan up to continue to be successful. Now, what do they say? And would they say the same thing about Jesse Minter, right? Who is his defense coordinator? And would that just be your reason to not do this? There have been people that even want to say John Harbaugh should be the next head coach of Michigan because Baltimore doesn't like him anymore. That dude will be a head coach in the NFL anywhere he wants. He's that good. And Kalen Moore at Alabama, he's getting everything he wants down there. And they're in the playoff. They have a chance to win the national championship right now. Why the hell would he want to leave that to go to Michigan? That doesn't make any sense. Why don't you just go tell me to get Ryan Day from Ohio State? I mean, Matt Patricia makes sense to me, but really? Ryan Day? Why isn't Dabo Swinney being invited in this conversation? You think Dabo Swinney wants to leave Clemson to join this? Come on, guys. Keep it a buck here. This job has gone from being one of the most desirable, I take that back, from being the most desirable to I really got to weigh the options here. I really do. If you're Brian Kelly, maybe you take this job. Maybe you think that you can overcome all of this. Mike Gundy, for instance, maybe he thought he'd come over this. But are these people you want? Is this really who you want your program to be? And that's what you're also hiring as a head coach. You're hiring the person who is going to layer over the top of your program his personality, because that's how these things work. If you want to be physical and run-oriented, you hire a guy who's physical and run-oriented. If you want to be high-flying, you go hire that guy. It didn't work when they hired Rich Rod. Really didn't work when they hired Brady Hoke. But what Jim Harbaugh did was run the football, play defense. There are those guys out there. But now you've made it not about football. And that is what's going to make it really, really, really difficult to win. When you can't just coach football in this environment where everything else is going on, you got to have everything else nailed down. You can't have this. It's worrying. And I really hope they figure it out. I genuinely hope they figure it out.